Welcome to our tutorial Simplify Commissioning with SENTRON powerconfig. My name is Melina Hagelauer and I'm pleased to present you some tips and tricks on how to do the commissioning of communication-capable devices within a low-voltage power distribution. The main question for today is, how can I realize the commissioning of a power distribution board in an easy and fast way? In my opinion, we have just the right tool for you. In order to simplify your commissioning process, we recommend using SENTRON powerconfig. It's a free setup software for Siemens devices and is available as desktop and mobile version. But before we look at the features the software offers and what benefits you can derive from it, I want to focus on the commissioning process and its challenges. We have identified 4 different fields where you might face challenges as a commissioning engineer. If we think about the software part, it is hard to figure out which one should be used, as there are many options in the market. And the graphic interface is often not very user-friendly. Furthermore, if you get the mounted power distribution board from the panel builder, there might be wiring errors, which have to be fixed before being able to parameterize the devices. If we switch on the devices, this does not necessarily mean that all are functioning faultlessly. In some cases, you might detect malfunctions or you have problems establishing the communication, for example, between a device and its gateway. And finally, there is the documentation requirement, which can be complex and time-consuming if it's not done in an automated way or if documents are missing. All of that does not only cause distress, but also costs time and money. We might not be able to solve all problems that can occur during commissioning, but SENTRON powerconfig tool can ease the process, making it faster and more efficient. The commissioning process in an ideal setup includes 5 main steps. First, the main auxiliary and communication connections must be checked. This wiring test is often done through visual inspection and can be supported through additional measurements. The next step is the device testing. All devices are activated and the basic functionalities as well as the communication connections must be tested. After the device testing, we come to the parameterization part, where we determine the parameter settings for all protection and measurement devices. The next part is the functional testing, in which we can, for example, do a plausibility check of the measured values and do a test triggering. The commissioning process is being completed by the documentation step, where important information regarding project structure, device parameters, and firmware versions need to be recorded. We have also included the service step, which is not part of the commissioning process. But nevertheless, it's very important, as a commissioning tool might be needed for the step, for example, to do firmware updates or troubleshooting if an error occurred. Based on this process, we have identified 4 requirement fields, which have to be covered by the commissioning tool. In the next few minutes, I want to show you for each field one support function in powerconfig. At first, we look at the parameterization. We are using the network scan function in powerconfig to identify devices within our network range, change their communication parameters, and load the devices into our project. First, we make sure the data server is connected to our computer with an Ethernet cable and that the IP address of our computer is in the desired networking range. We click the Search for Accessible Devices icon and select the proper Ethernet connection from the list. We click Start Search and change the networking parameters of the search results by unlocking them and then entering the predefined IP address. In our case, we have to adjust the parameter for the 3WA air circuit breaker. After making the changes, we load them into the device by pressing the Load Communication Parameters icon. When we are finished, we click the Load Selected Devices icon to load the device to the PC. The 3WA is now populated into the project window. The next function in powerconfig that I want to show you is the automated export of the project documentation. After the parameterization of the devices and the successful function tests, we can save the project file and do the documentation export. Therefore, we click on the Print Project Documentation icon and select all devices that we want to include, in our case, all devices in our project. By clicking OK, the print preview window opens and we can change properties and, for example, also include the customer's own logo. Within the document map, we can jump to the different device sections. Now we have the possibility to export the documentation as PDF by pressing the disk icon. Insert the desired storage location and name your project. Now we can open the export and do a final check of all settings before printing it out. Within the diagnostics field, I want to show you how to do a communication test via a ping. We want to test the communication connection between our PC, the data concentrator COM800 and the connected 3VA molded case circuit breaker. Therefore, we must select the tab Communication, and in our project window, we change to the circuit breaker feeds. We start by clicking the ping command of the gateway, the COM800, and after the successful communication test, we move on to check the connection between the 3VA and its gateway, so again, the COM800. We need to change to the 3VA in our project window and start the next ping. All ping commands were successful and we can see in the workspace the topological structure of our selected devices. The last function I would like to show you is the service step. We want to check the maintenance data that powerconfig provides for our molded case circuit breaker 3VA. First, we go online and switch to the maintenance and statistic view. This view displays statistics relating to the number of tripping operation, mechanical operation cycles, and running time of the operating hours counter. For the 3VA, we also have an analysis based on the data on top about the health indication of the device and its remaining lifetime. For more detailed information about historical events, we need to switch to the Messages tab. And there we have access to the warning and event log with information like trips event and whether the device was switched off for a specific amount of time. If you're interested to see the whole commissioning process of a power distribution board, I highly recommend the recording of our webinar, which can be found on our website. In the beginning, I have already mentioned that the software is available as desktop and mobile version. Today, we have showed you the desktop version. If you're interested in using this version, please download it for free in the SIOS portal, the Siemens Industry Online Support. For quickly checking states and adjusting parameters, for example, for industrial electricians, we recommend getting our mobile version, which is available in the Google Play Store and App Store. Scan the QR code to easily find it there. Further information on the implementation of electrical equipment can be found on our website. There we offer you a variety of white papers, application example, and also the webinar with more details about the commissioning with powerconfig. My colleagues and I are looking forward to receiving your inquiry.